was a massive embarrassment, I thought. Did you guys agree with that at the
Yeah,
time?
Doc Emmerich, I think, voted
Doc
too.
Emmerich, everybody who was part of that should have been embarrassed that Malkin wasn't chosen in the top 100. You guys agree?
Ah, yes.
Absolutely.
He would be chosen now, I think.
Well, that was only a couple of years ago.
I think he
And
would be chosen now, though.
What's
I
he
think
done to convince people who didn't think he was then?
When he played last year, when he wasn't hurt, he was very dynamic, and I think he's been dynamic since he came back.
Yeah, I'm not sure that would. Well, I would hope he would be, but the fact that doesn't lessen the outrage to me that he wasn't put on that list then, because he's very, very not only in the top 100, he's easily in the top 50 if you ask me, and he's certainly a top 3 or 4 Penguin of all time. Would you agree with that?
I would definitely agree with that.
Yep.
Bob?
Yes, absolutely.
Well, let's listen to Sully.
He got a big endorsement from his coach yesterday.
Let's listen to Sully after the game.
Well, I think he worked extremely hard to get himself in the position to return to play, and he deserves so much credit for the effort and the commitment that he put in. You know, that rehab process was long and tedious, and Gino, I think, worked extremely hard at it to try to get back as quickly as he could for our team. And as far as where his game is trending, I think he's getting better with each game he plays. When he's at his best, he's one of the few players that can take a game over. And we're fortunate we have a couple of them on our team. But he's a guy that he's a generational talent, and as is Sid, Gino in my mind is one of the greatest players of all time, not just of his generation. He's one of the greatest players of all time. And so he's the way he's playing right now, I think, and when no one loves to score more than him, you can see his raw emotion when he scores. I think he gained so much confidence off of his ability to generate offense and score goals. And so, we're hopeful that he'll just build more confidence, and his game will continue to grow and improve. It'll help us create the balance that we need through our lineup, and we're that much more dangerous when he's in our lineup. And so we were glad to get him back tonight. We weren't sure we were going to. He obviously felt well enough that he could play, and you can see the difference he made in the hockey game.
He was referring to him missing the Rangers game Friday night with a non-COVID illness, and they listed him as a game-time decision. Yesterday, he took the skate and ended up playing. But not just of his generation, one of the best of all time.
And I don't think that's an understatement. I think he belongs in that classification when you see it. And I also think it's very good for him. One of the reasons why I believe he'll stay and take a pay cut is because he likes playing second fiddle to Sidney Crosby. Always has. It takes a lot of pressure off of him. He's not the face of the franchise necessarily. He's one of them, but it's Sidney Crosby's team, and I think that helps him. I think he likes that role.
Strong words for Sully, but to me it's fact, not really opinion. I mean, when you look at Malkin's career, he's 15th in points per game in the history of the sport. 15th, playing a large part of his career, I might add, in the dead puck era. He's ahead of Yzerman, LaFontaine, Ovechkin, Trottier, Perreault, Pavel Bure, Yager. He's one of the greatest players who ever played the game.
All Hall of Famers.
And I think in a lot of ways he's taken a lot of unfair and unnecessary heat in this town. I've heard in the last couple of weeks he'll have a great game. Why can't he play like that all the time? I don't know. Why can't he play like that all the time? Who does? Who plays their best game all the time over the course of an 82 game
season? Not over
season?
82. I agree with you. I think early in his career he brought some of it on himself, the criticism. I think if things weren't going his way offensively, he would tend to sulk a little bit, maybe take some dumb penalties. He'll still take a penalty now and then, but I think he's matured so much over the years, and I don't see that part of his game anymore. He just came off, 5 or 6 games with no points.
A lot of people do, though. A lot of people continue to criticize him, from what I've heard.
Certainly didn't let it get him down with these 5 or 6 games with no points.
No, but I also think it's true. It's still, he's such a fiery personality that you can get under his skin. And I think other teams know that. And that's the challenge for him and Chris Letang in the postseason. Don't let people get under your skin. and don't take penalties, especially in the offensive zone, that are a result of someone hitting you hard, whatever. All of a sudden, you get your emotions going and you take
Has
a
he
penalty.
done that in the playoffs a lot lately?
I'd have to
Well,
look.
they haven't lasted long
Yeah.
enough in the playoffs.
No.
to tell.
No, I don't think he has.
You know what I
Would be
mean,
my-
though? Those are the kinds of things that you need to control.
Well, maybe
in
he
those
doesn't.
moments.
Maybe it's part of his personality. Look at the play yesterday, though. I had to laugh when he made the play at the blue line. Right, that was on a power play, correct? He made a very, very high risk.
High
play.
risk if he loses
And you
a poke
better
check.
you better believe if that guy pokes it and scores a breakaway goal shorthanded, then he's catching all kinds of crap from people. That's been the way of it in this town for a lot of people, and I'm sure it will continue to be the way of it.
But again,
he takes an unnecessary large share of criticism when things don't go well.
Things that like Letang, though, the chances he takes are part of his
Right.
game.
When he pinches and it's the wrong
and they
pinch.
pay off a lot more than when they don't pay off. But when they don't pay off, they're very visible.
Very visible.
Yep.
Yeah, they're going to happen.
But I still would love that way of thinking for both guys, and that's why I still like them both to remain here because they bring so much of that. Yeah, you're going to have to put up with that once in a while, but so be it. That's the risk you take. Would you rather have someone who's not capable of making a play, doesn't even try, and just dumps it all the time? No, you don't want that. Sometimes that's the smart play, and that's what he has to resist. But, that's part of being a dynamic player.
How long would you sign him for, Bob?
3 years, if he's willing.
What if he wants 5 like Letang?
As long as the money's doable over the last 2 years of that. I got to believe that when you approach 40, things have got to start changing financially.
I can't go 5 years for him, not at his age. And he's also had a lot of injuries. And I don't think, as good a shape as he's in and how hard he worked, you heard Sully talk about that. Letang, I would have an easier time giving 5 years to than him because just of Letang's work ethic.
Yeah, but he's been injured a lot, too, and he's also had other, heart-related
5 years
issues.
is an awful long time. I get it.
Do you think Gino has a good work ethic?
I do. I don't think it's like Letang's, but I don't know that anybody's is like Letang's other than maybe Sid.
Do you think Gino is a third behind those guys in work ethic, Bob?
Well, I think Crosby is number one by far over
I
everybody.
think Letang is number one.
I think Crosby
he does
everything.
out.
Well, you're talking about working out or
Well, that's
working
work
on your
ethic
game.
To me,
work ethic
yeah.
is working on your game more than they both do. But I think nobody can match Crosby. He sets that tone for everyone. Always on the ice first. He's just doing everything to try to fine tune his game, and that's where it starts with me with him. But Chris Letang's in fabulous shape. You can't, and his skating is off the charts good for, especially being in the league this year.
And he just never seems to slow down.
So to me, I'm giving him whatever I can keep him around at whatever number.
I think Gino's is pretty good, too.
How much would you give Letang?
Well, let me get back to Gino because I think his work ethic is up there, too. And I think anybody at his age who works their way back from a major knee injury, first of all, plays through it.
That's what
and plays at at least a higher level than some of the other stars on the team in that Islanders series.
Right.
And then comes back this year and is doing what he's doing, has to be working pretty hard to do that at age, what is he, 34? 35.
I think he's 35.
He's almost 36.
Yeah.
So I don't really question his work ethic at all.
Well, I'm not questioning his work ethic. I just won't put it quite up with Crosby and Letang. That's all. That's not an embarrassment to him. I think, obviously, him playing last year hurt was probably one of the best things he's ever done in his career. I think he scored more points last year with fans by doing that than almost anything else he's done.
Yeah, I mean, he's played hurt before. He's played through injury.
I don't know at that level in the playoffs. That's what's amazing to me.
How many years would I sign Letang for? Probably 5. If that's what it took to clinch
per
the deal.
year?
That's the other
Man,
thing.
that's the question. How much will the cap hit be when he's late in his career? Didn't Frank Saravalli report that the Penguins wanted to go 3 years? Do I have that report right?
I remember that, yes.
Everything I read says Malkin will take a cut and Letang won't.
And I don't blame Letang.
I don't either.
I mean,
he's
playing. He's playing at a really high level again.
I really don't.
Do you think he wants to go back to Montreal and play?
No. Although I don't know the answer to that because Montreal right now is not a good team. You talk about going to a team that doesn't have a lot. Right now they don't. Although Marty St. Louis is doing a pretty good job with that team. It looks like. So
If I get one bad year at the end of a 5-year deal with Letang, if that's what it takes to keep him, then I'm signing him. At what price? Man, it'd probably be 5 years, $40 million, right, to keep him.
well, that's higher than I would have. I was thinking $7 million a year just because of
That's a
his
pay
age.
cut.
I understand that, but it's still $7 million a year for a guy who's going to be
And
you
you're
know,
giving, if
36,
you're giving
7,
him
8,
5
9.
years of term.
Right.
He ain't taking a pay cut.
If the term is 5 years, I, as an organization, would want less money.
Then you're probably going to lose him.
Well, then that's his choice.
So the difference of $1 million a year would keep you from keeping him?
I'm just saying, 5 years. I'm giving him. That to me. That's an olive branch. I still believe in you, and I'm willing to show you 5 years as long as that number. Because we have other things to do. You know how this works, Chris. We have guys over here who's still making. They're going to have to help us out because of the cap system.
Tough calls for Ron Hextall, man.
I would keep Letang at that price. I just think if you get rid of him, you're getting
All
rid
right,
of
but
a
a lot of
lot.
that is predicated
For a
on
million-
what you
for $1
think
million
Brian Rust will get.
All right, yeah. If it comes,
You know, I
Joe,
mean,
if it comes down to Rust or Letang, what are you doing?
Probably Letang because he plays half the game. He has a bigger impact on the overall game. Although Rust has become
Such a
pretty good
two-way
penalty
player,
killer, just
yeah.
a good all-around player.
That's
I
a
think if
tough
you
call.
are able to get rid of contracts, either Matheson or
Kapanen,
Pettersson, Zucker,
all of those.
that you have a chance to do it.
But the only way that makes
you have
sense
a chance to keep all three.
is if you have guys in your system who you could put in and will do well. You have to at some point believe in your system. Much like they did in 2016. They brought up kids and they played them and they
Look at
worked
Jake
well.
Gensel, look what he turned out.
Right. Not just Connor Sherry, same way. Wilson, when he was here, he was the same way. Kunak had a role. You need guys in your system to come up and do this. The question is, do they have them? And if so, can they be ready by next year to start? And so if they answer yes to that, then they can make that deal.